Today we're going to talk about adapting to change in the real estate industry. It starts with a model of change. Imagine there's some kind of disruption, and after that, people have to work a little bit differently. We've got ascending skills that become more important, and other skills that we don't need as much. There are new jobs and jobs that become obsolete. Obsolete jobs kind of fall away, and we lose those descending skills. So we have a disruption, and there's some time where we understand how big it is, and then we assimilate and we come up with a new status quo. Now these changes can be different. Some of them have a lot of change, but they don't really require new jobs or any jobs to go away. And other ones are the exact opposite. Some changes have a very small impact, and some of them are much bigger, or they can take time or happen very quickly. And in business, we're used to having a bunch of these kind of follow one after another, and we adjust and we feel good about it because it's the normal course of things. But every once in a while, we get a pattern that is unusual. We call this a double tap. So when the first change is relatively small, but it ushers in a new status quo that tips off a very big and rapid change that really shakes things up. An example of this is what Netflix did to the movie rental business, but really it opened the door to a much more profound change with streaming and remapped industries and our very lives. Another example is the digital camera, which really revolutionized photography in a lot of ways. But once everybody had a great camera in their mobile phone, it revolutionized journalism, entertainment, politics, and so many other things. Look at what happened to digital cameras. In just 7 years, there was a 66% decline after iPhones were released. What kind of changes are we seeing in real estate? Well, there's all kinds of stuff happening in retail. The hotel industry has been remapped with Airbnb and other similar companies. And the digital nomad trend is really turning into something that affects the office space overall. So there are some big changes happening in commercial real estate. First of all, with our customers. Mobility and connectivity came along and changed the relationship between people and space. It brought in new jobs and new skills, and there were other things that became less important. But the double tap came along when we started getting into things like co-working, lean startups, and collaboratives, different ways that people work. This has had a profound change on the kinds of things we need to do and the kinds of people we need to hire in a real estate company. The next area is in corporate operations. Data and systems were great, and we needed analysts and developers and integrators and so forth, but it really opened the door to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic process automation. That represents a much bigger change in the kinds of things we need to do. And finally, we look at the built world. Running a building changed a lot when we got electronic controls, and there were a whole bunch of things we could do to optimize. But now, with IoT and BIM and smart buildings, it's another level altogether. You can pause the video at any point if you want to look at the details. But the short story is that in 3 important parts of the real estate industry, we've had double taps. When we look in the aggregate, the kinds of jobs and skills that are going away are the conventional how-to skills. These are things that we learn from experience that you can see on a resume. The things that replace them kind of fall into 2 categories. On one hand, we need technical skills, people who understand systems and data and information, data scientists, programmers, and so forth. On the other hand, the customer-facing world is all about creating and providing experiences. These are people that are good with people, that have good aptitude, that understand the emotional side and the sociological side of our business. So let's look at how companies can make this change. A smaller or medium-sized company has leaders that are already in tune with this kind of stuff. We'll show them as yellow and green. And throughout the organization, they tend to have people that are more focused on these kinds of things. It's not so hard to replace people that don't adapt with new people that really get it, or to kind of keep people in place but have them somewhat isolated from the new things that have to happen. On the other hand, a bigger company doesn't really have that luxury. The people running it have typically come up through the industry. Changing the whole thing is difficult, so they often start with an innovation group that they add on with a mandate to push innovation in the company, or they partner with groups that have these kinds of skills already built in. Whether you're a small company or a big company, it's not easy to navigate this change, so let us know if we can help.